Good morning. Talk to me. How's everybody doing?
Good morning, Brett.
Good
Good
morning.
morning. All right. I see Mr. Bass. I got Steven. I don't see Jenny yet. I know Rick's on his. Oh, there's Jenny.
I'm here.
Uh,
I'm here.
how
Good
are
morning.
you? Well, let's roll. We got a lot. We ran out of time last week, so I want to go a little bit quicker through the numbers this week. Let's start over here with Broward single family. So last week there were new active status of 1,093 in the MLS. And remember, this is a 7 day running total. So this week there was 1,055. Not much change, about the same volume of new active properties in the market. We had 170 go into the active under contract status. There's 177 this week, about the same in the pending status, right? So, as Dave corrected us last week, pretty much 177 uh, properties. Do y'all add them together, Dave, Richard, or is that the same actual property?
No, you add them together.
So, okay, so 354
Yeah.
went pending. So, what's interesting is if you got 1,000 coming on the market and a third coming off the market into a pending status, I think that's still pretty a healthy ratio. But as I said, when we get more and more weeks of data, we'll get richer and richer perspectives of what's going on. 18 went into the coming soon status. 291. So what's interesting about this week's numbers, you'll see it a little more drastic in some of the other categories, but it's into the month's closings. And it's kind of a joke on the leadership side because realtors, for whatever reason, have been trained to close all their properties at the end of the month. And I think it actually goes back to uh, government backed loans charged an interest charge to the buyer if they closed in the middle of the month. So typically, people always tried to minimize closing costs, so they would close properties at the end of the month. And the real estate industry, as long as I've been in it, has just always followed suit. But anyway, it is what it is. So there's always a spike of closings at the end of the month. So there was 291 single family closed out in the last 7 days in Broward County, 39 withdrawn. And then we've got almost 300 expired or canceled single family listings in Broward County. So if you're a expired prospecting in a TCPA compliant way real estate professional, that's 300 properties that are new in the hopper for you to go after, right? In Broward County, just on the single family side. If we run over to condo, we've got 373 Broward County new condo active listings. We've got 81 and 72. So what's that? 153 properties that went pending. So if you just do the same ratio, 370 new on the market and probably about 40%, I would say, almost 50% went pending over the last 7 days, which is higher than single family, which is interesting just for perspective. 143 closed out in the last 7 days. We had 40 withdrawn and 400 or 502 properties go into the expired or canceled bucket. Ironically, there's more that came off the market in an expired, canceled category than went on the market in the last 7 days.
I
So
don't know that that's ironic. I think it's a picture of our market and the saturation of condos and people not pricing things right.
I agree. But I also think in a sick, twisted way, that helps the inventory conversation. There should be less if you still have a condo listing, there's less competition on the market today than there was 7 days ago. You agree or disagree? Just from these stats.
I think if you're
Numbers don't lie.
Okay. Richard, you did a
Statistically,
stats
you're correct.
presentation. What do you think?
What's that?
So you did the stats presentation a week
Oh.
ago. What do you think?
What you're showing up here, as I said, I love the week by week tracking. You see things change a lot faster. And you already commented a lot of these numbers have to do at the end of the month,
Yep.
right? That's your closing numbers and expireds, canceled, expireds in particular jump up at the end of every month.
Yeah. All right, let's keep rolling. Townhouse Villa, 95 new active in Broward. 46, if I add these together, went pending. That's 50% of what came on the market in the last 7 days has gone under contract. 48 closed out. And then 81 expired. So it's still less than what came on the market in the Townhouse Villa, but it's pretty close, right? If I run out to Dade County single family, we've got 836, or I'm sorry, 839 new active listings in single family, 106 and 192 went pending. So that's 308. Is that right? Yeah. No, 298. 298, which is 35% of what came on the market. And then 230 closed out, and we had 287 expire or cancel in the last 7 days. If I look at the condo market in Dade, you got 374 new active. Looks like 135 went into some kind of pending status over the last 7 days. So that's roughly 30%. And then 114 closed out at the end of the month. And then 468 expired at the end of July or canceled, which is same story, more than what came on the market. I tend to want to be optimistic and think that's probably a healthy thing if you still have active condo listings. But we'll see how it plays out, right? On the Townhouse Villa, we've got 96 active, new actives. We got 29 and 24. So we've got 53 that went into the pending status, which is 50%. 39 closed out in the last 7 days, and we've got 99 that expired or canceled, which is pretty equal to what's came on the market in the last 7 days. Any thoughts on these so far? Anybody?
There's still a higher.
My curiosity with this, Brett, is Dade County does not use coming soon status for the most part. And I scratch my head and I go, why? It's been such a valuable tool for the agents who do coming soon followed by an open house, having success with it. But Dade County, I noticed it last week as well. They don't seem to be doing coming soon status.
Yeah, we had some in the single family,
Yep.
but the Dade County condo, a week before there were 74. And I'm assuming these were all August 1st listings that were coming soon. But then none this week. And then the Townhouse Villa, they didn't use it at all. Interesting. Natalie, you got your hand up.
Hi, I kind of want you guys to help me. You kind of helped me with the stats. I feel like I'm having a lot of buyers that are making good offers and people are not accepting. At the same time, I had 3 listings tell me I'd rather not sell than lower. And I think this is what I'm seeing a little bit with the stats as well. You're right. There is less competition. There is a weirdness in the market where I think maybe because people got locked into this very low interest rate where they're paying so little on their house and they're so comfortable with low taxes, it's hard to get people to move. So, and I love your explanation because I don't know how to present it to my buyers where, yes, things aren't moving, yet people aren't willing to sell either. People, again, that's a lot of my listings. 4 of my listings rather take it out the market and told me, you know what, it's just not worth it.
So there's a lot of smart people on this call. So who's got some perspective for Natalie?
Well, part of it is you can't rob the rich. I mean, if you can afford to sit on it and wait out the market, and you're also savvy enough to know that cycles are just part of, the world, and that at some point they'll cycle back, you can't blame sellers who are in the envious position of, moderate motivation. So I think you just have to find that diamond in the rough, that opportunity, that circumstantial story where someone really needs to sell because of personal circumstance. And it may take a few extra tries. And what I've learned over time and gone through a few dips and cycles is that over time, your confidence today might be different in 3 months based on, media news and personal circumstance. So it's all part of the cycle. That's all I'm saying. And it may take 3 times the effort to achieve a win. But I'll add this, when you do win, you're not the only one that's challenged. I think it helps your narrative as a real estate professional that you're winning in a challenged market where most aren't. And so continue to track the data and provide evidence that you're superior to the typical agent. And again, as the markets suffer somewhat, it gets easier to illustrate that differential in terms of, especially on the listing side, days on market, average sales to list price. These are things you should be tracking against the general market so that when you show up for, an interview for a listing, you're the clear winner.
And Rick, I want to piggyback off of that.
Thank you.
I
You're
read an
welcome.
article this morning that Miami is the #1 market in the United States where sellers are going to wait it out. More people are pulling their properties off the market in the Miami market and waiting for the cycle to come back. I think that it is it's just, I mean, there's so many second homes here. There's so many third homes here where people, like you said, they're wealthy. It doesn't matter to them. They'll just wait till they get their number. I've seen it with some of mine as well.
Yep.
Yeah. But patience and persistence
Thank
pays
you.
off.
The thing that shows up in a buyer's market that doesn't show up as hot in a seller's market is the want tos get minimized. And Rick and I had a big conversation about this last week. Is what percentage of the market is in a motivated place because of a life change versus a desired life change? And if you're in a motivated place of a life change, your motivation level to sell or take that offer, Natalie, or move the property is much greater than a desired life change, meaning I want a second home or I need to repurpose my money to something else or all those things. We got a couple hands. I want to make sure I catch everybody. Elsa, you raised your hand?
Yes, just an information that I would like to remind for anyone who is in luxury and especially in Luxury Pro. We also have a good way to stay connected with our clients who are not so motivated by offering them the program Third Home. So Third Home program will allow us to stay in contact with them. They are not willing to sell their home, but they are still, visiting with that. And for us, it's just a way to stay connected with them.
Okay. I'd love to get more information about that.
I will give it to you whenever you want.
All right, let's keep rolling. So Palm Beach detached, 877, single family came on, 189 and 134. So my brain works sometimes. 323 went into the pending status, roughly about 35. 303 closed out. And we've got 273 that went into the expired canceled bucket. If I look at Palm Beach condo, 240 active, 63 active under contract, and 36, so 99, which is roughly a little less than a third came off the market. We had 102 close out at the end of the month, and 304 went into the expired withdraw or expired canceled bucket, which is more that came on the market. So all three counties in the condo category, more came off the market that went on the market in the last 7 days. Townhouse Villa, 120 came on. We've got 86 that went into some kind of pending status. There are some forthcoming soons. We had 87 that closed out in the last 7 days, and then 89 expired, canceled in the last 7 days. Any final thoughts on the weekly stats, guys, before we move on?
Start bringing them to your listing appointments. That's what I gotta say. Show the good stuff, not the negative.
Yeah. One of the things Luke's adding it this week, he may have already added it. I talked to him this morning. Um, when you go to therealestatestats.com, right here where it says Florida stats, there'll be a little drop down arrow and it'll say stats by county. We'll have that up today. And when you go there, you'll have access to this spreadsheet. So you'll be able to have all the latest and greatest probably by this afternoon. All right, couple of the articles.
Brett, can I add one thing? I think Stephen
Yes.
made a really good point. In light of the data, there's still positivity, there's still momentum, and there's winners. And don't come in doom and gloom with strictly focused on the number of faileds. I think that was an important element, because you want to obviously attach to people's emotional state in positive ways, but you want to set a reality so that you want to paint a picture of reality that allows you to take the time it takes to do your job, because the market's they're giving us what we're getting. You can't change the market. So good point. I appreciate that.
Yeah. All right. So Andy Florence is the CEO of homes.com, and forget the headline. He's declaring victory in portal wars. What he's saying here, which I think is very insightful that we need to pay attention to. He's saying, we're not competing against Realtor or Zillow for customers. We're doing something completely different. And in essence, we're now number one at that, blah, blah, blah. What I read into this article is Realtor.com and Zillow, big motivation is to generate leads and then have an aggregator expense, whether people buy leads or pay a cost of sale on the end of the transaction back to Realtor.com or Zillow for those transactions. But what Homes.com, which if you're not familiar, Homes.com is owned by CoStar, and CoStar owns Apartments.com and Homes.com. And those are their two one tier down plays. So Homes.com obviously is in the single family game, and Apartments.com is in the leasing game. Yet not single family alone, condos, townhomes, all of it. But they're wanting to be, and he says it in this article, if I can find it real quick. Here we go. We're the only portal that is focused on marketing the real estate, giving the agent the tools that are really effective at helping them market the real estate on behalf of the owner. So has anybody played with homes.com? What they do is they look at your listing inventory and they charge you a monthly fee to get premier visual. Your listings have higher traffic on homes.com. And in theory, your listing, your lead is kind of their mantra, meaning if you pay for this premium listing package, your listings are going to get higher eyeballs. And in theory, those leads are supposed to come back to you. I have not personally talked to very many, if any, top agents that are playing this game that's been able to see a great return on investment from the money spent. Yet I think it's fundamentally different than the Zillow and Realtor.com business model, or even Redfin at that level. But it's interesting to know. And the second thing on here, if you weren't aware, Homes.com sued Zillow last week. And I'm going to simplify this, but basically they're suing Zillow for copyright infringement because there are, here's what it says, systematically infringement of CoStar's copyrighted photographs. They said Zillow was displaying nearly 46,000 CoStar copyrighted images on Zillow rentals. Many of the images CoStar claims still have the CoStar watermark on them. So one thing that's very apparent in real estate right now is these copyright of photography. And if you've ever gotten caught up in this, it's a little bit of an ambulance chasing lawyer game where if you don't take your own photos or have rights to photos, it's a problem. But now CoStar is going after Zillow on a giant scale around photography copyrights. And it's nasty. And one of my favorite things to say on these industry update calls is get your popcorn ready because we just get to sit back and watch. But any thoughts? I saw somebody's hand pop up. Dave, you're talking about you've gotten leads from homes.com on the freebie version. Just set up an account. Tell us about that.
I did not. That was
I think it was Dave Costella.
Okay.
Or Elsa. Talk. What you
So
pay?
I do have homes.com. I do not have any leads for now who were serious, but I have been dragged to absolutely go under homes.com at the last family reunion by a top producer, Linda Harris in Miami, who got tons of leads from that. She said that having her listing, beautiful listing display and pushed very much more so, she got a lot of leads. So that's why I just follow what since she's such a top producer, I just follow with her and I'm just looking what's going on. But we have a lot of inside and we can show to our clients how many views and it gives you graphs and those kind of things. So that's how I use it for now.
Yeah, I would definitely say homes.com is very committed to being that for the real estate community. The question I always have is return on investment. Like if I'm recommending something to agents to spend money on this, are you getting some kind of return on investment on it?
Yeah.
But
the way they price it depends of your production whenever you are in contact with them. And also they give you a free access to Matterport. So that's also one of the things that I found that was a nice benefit to it.
yeah. So Matterport, if you're not familiar, is the 3D floor plan company, and CoStar also owns it. All right, perfect. Moving on. Real estate does not need more disruptors. It needs craftspeople. What I found interesting in this article is just the perspective around it. Somewhere along the way, we let the craft slip. A craft rooted in deep market knowledge, skilled negotiation, ethical guidance, and a commitment to client services. So, business generally goes through periods of innovation. And our real estate industry has certainly gone through a period of innovation, whether you want to call social media innovation, you want to call technology tools innovation. But in times of innovation, the foundation of what creates success and the professionalism that's attached to that sometimes takes a little bit of a hit. And what this article is speaking to, and I think is spot on, is our industry needs to, especially in the current market conditions, raise its game around professionalism, raise its game around skills and pricing and marketing and staging and the fundamentals of what makes our industry great. because the technology and the innovation isn't going to get the seller that's not willing to take the reduced offer price over the finish line. It's actually the professionalism and the skills of that real estate agent that are going to get those deals done. Thoughts?
I actually witnessed staging work. I'm helping Natalie Levine. She had a condo for sale in Plantation, and it was filled with a bunch of listings. And I did the walkthrough for her. The buyer came in, and she's like, "Oh my gosh, it looks different with the furniture not in here." The furniture was a good distraction to get the buyer to buy that unit in particular. So staging can be very useful in getting at something stubborn to sell.
Yep.
And I want to jump in saying and as an observation, you go to events, you go to conferences, you go to wherever you go to learn. People are so busy shooting B-roll that they're not paying attention to what's going on and paying attention to what you can actually be learning. Put down the frickin' cameras and learn something to be skilled.
Yep. He just put this in here, and I realize it's a little opinionated, but it says consumers don't want influencers. They want advocates, people who guide big decisions with honesty, skill, and care. And maybe it's just a moment in time where we make a statement or a commitment to raising our game around professionalism.
Well, it's about knowing your product and knowing your market and knowing the economics and the microeconomics, neighborhood to neighborhood. That's where real expertise shows up and differentiation from, one realtor to the next. And with so many new people entering the market as realtors, it takes sometimes decades to really become that, automatic expert because you've been there so many times. Just as a simple example, in my first couple of years, I went to every inspection and literally worked out a deal with my inspector. And he was the best in the business that he would allow me to tag along behind. And as long as I didn't get in the way or slow him down, I wanted to know every nuance of every build, like every nut and bolt, so that I had expert eyes in advance of a decision to write an offer, before the inspection ever occurred. And I think the art of actually understanding, structural material, there's deeper knowledge that I think makes one agent superior to the next. And working on that skill and not just lead generation, they should work in cahoots or in partnership.
Got it. Um, all right. Uh, I'm going to fly through these real quick, but I'm just going to give you some dialogue around this. And here's the thing on our industry update, it's impossible to avoid some political topics, but our job is not to give you a political opinion. Our job is to translate what's going on and where we believe it affects the real estate industry. So there was a job report that was released last week that didn't show up positive, and that there's controversy around this job report of whether it was accurate or not and all this stuff. Here's the reality of what I believe translates to the real estate industry. Because it was negative, and then on Wednesday last week, the Fed met and did not change the Federal Reserve rate. So the next opportunity for the Fed to change the Federal Reserve rate is not until September. I personally believe the political pressure is high for them to bring that Federal Reserve rate down in September. Yet the jobs report is going to work against us on bringing mortgage rates down, meaning they're not going to want to bring mortgage rates down uh, super fast because of that job report, whether it was accurate or not. I'll leave the commentary around it. The other thing is the Fed could cut rates in September. Mortgage pros are skeptical of the impact. The big hope out there in the marketplace is by the end of the year, mortgage rates can get down close to 6.5. That's kind of the economic prediction, optimistic viewpoint. I believe that's probably going to happen by the end of the year. Yet there's a lot of moving parts, and you can read through these articles and all that stuff. Yet I want to make sure we cover this article before we run out of time. So I found this article on the South Florida Business Journal, and it was talking about foreign buyers dominate South Florida condo market. What was interesting in this article is it's saying basically half of the buyers buying South Florida condos are international. And my question, and of those international buyers, 86% are Latin American. So that's basically saying almost half the condos are being bought by foreign nationals from Latin America. So if you have condo listings, what is your strategy to attract Latin American foreign buyers to your properties? That's a live question.
I speak for myself. This is Audrey Benassi. I speak French, so I do a lot of marketing towards Canadian or something like that, just to say in your listing that you speak a different language. So in this case, that you speak Spanish will help you out to maybe have some of the marketing done in Spanish as well, or have a Spanish version. But for me, as soon as I put I speak French or Spanish, I get more clients just because of that.
Okay.
And then the reason why obviously they're buying in Miami is because Miami first language is Spanish. So most of those people don't automatically have a good English. So that's why they're probably buying in that area versus buying in Broward County, which would be much cheaper.
Yep. Anybody else? Dave, there's a global business summit. Tell me about that.
So I'm on the global committee at the board. The Global Business Summit is going to be on September 19th from 10 to 5 at the North Palm Beach Country Club. It's an all-day event geared toward teaching us how to work with international clients, how to find international clients. One thing I will say, and I'm going to disagree with Audrey in one aspect, is when the world says they're going to buy in Miami. Miami to the world means anywhere from Miami to Orlando. So they don't really differentiate between the three counties that we do business in our group. So I think it's a great opportunity for people to learn it and get more of the pie out there.
Yeah. Well, Southeast Broward is 83%, Miami Beach is 71, North Miami 60. So there's what their data. I mean, I haven't checked the source on this, but it's still a large percentage in all the areas.
It's on the Miami Association of Realtor. You can have all they send pictures showing where everybody is coming from the Latin American. And there is 89% who are still going to West Palm Beach as well. So as they said, it's everywhere. It's not only Miami.
Yeah. So could it be strategic to have this article in a listing presentation and talk about how you attract international buyers if you're going on a listing presentation for a condo in this area? Absolutely. It's telling people you're a market expert and you know what's going on.
Brett, can I share something?
Yes.
We use a program that we set up with Lynn from Supreme Lending, set us up through list reports, and you can see through list track where the people are. I don't. That's not right.
No, I was just showing up. Dave, can you mute, please?
I got him.
Um, through that report, you could see on the map where the hot spots are, where people are actually viewing your listing. So if you get that access, then you can go onto the list report, see that, and then do targeted. That's what Mike and I do. We do targeted Facebook ads to that region so that we can attract people who are looking at our listings. You know, we could see it through that map.
Absolutely. Well, guys, we're 5 minutes over. I like to try to start and end on time. Appreciate you being here. We'll get all the resources. Make sure you downloaded the social media scripts from the chat. I'll leave the window up for a minute. Thank you, guys.
All those stats are on the website as well now, so you
Yeah.
can go on there and look at them.
Great
I just
participation,
post
guys. Good
into
to see
the
you.
into the message where all the South America are coming from, all the countries that are detailed with the Miami board.
Love it.
Very cool.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
See ya.